Hello everyone, my name is Elizabeth Cornish and I'm with the OTA Traditional Track 21. I'm going to talk to you guys about my expo project. So I named my expo project the dual purpose tray or the dual purpose desk, and I'll kind of explain why I named that here in a second. So the main purpose of my project was to create independence for someone that is going to be using or utilizing a Nimbo Posterior Walker, which is this blue walker right here, designed to keep someone in an upright position. It's also known as a gait trainer. So I named it the dual purpose tray or the dual purpose desk because it can be utilized for more than one purpose. So if a child is at school and they're going through the lunch line, they can now put their lunch tray here on the desk or the tray, and they can go through the lunch line and do it all independently without any assistance. And I know that before, when they're having to be so dependent of people, that can probably lower their self-esteem because their peers could be making fun of them, or they might feel insignificant towards their peers because they can't do that by themselves. But now with this dual-purpose tray, they can do that. Same thing if they're going to class, they need to carry their desk or their textbooks or notebooks, whatever they need to carry. It can hold up to 10 pounds. Wouldn't go past 10 pounds, but 10 pounds it's holding. If they have technology, they have tablets, or even they want to put their laptop on here, it's going to hold it just fine. There are some posterior walkers that actually have seats, and so a child could utilize this as an actual workspace to where they can sit down and do their homework. But this one does not have a seat. Some of them do, so that would be beneficial to them. So for this specific walker, it's a size large, which is going to fit a weight capacity of 190 pounds. It's going to fit someone that's between 54 to 68 inches tall, and then that's going to usually be someone that's approximately 10 to 18 years old. The Nimbo Posterior Walkers are specifically designed for individuals with cerebral palsy or other neuromuscular disorders. And it's also intended for individuals that need forearm and shoulder support to be able to teach postural control and balance. So definitely going to be very important to utilize this in the school setting as well as even at home. If a child wants to put their grooming supplies on their desk, take it to and from the bathroom, that would be very beneficial as well. My supplies, I used white paint, paintbrush, wood, Gorilla Glue, we used a nail gun and nails, a chop saw, black brackets, silver brackets, and if you were to buy all of that brand new, even with the chop saw, it's going to be about $200. We didn't buy anything except for the black and silver brackets, so it only cost us about $10. And I think a lot of people would have these materials that we had here at our house, also at their house. The chop saw is really expensive, so if you can get away with just borrowing it from someone and not actually having to buy it, that would make your total cost go significantly lower, and it would be very cost effective at that point. So the first thing I did when creating this project, I gathered all my supplies, figured out what I needed, purchased what I didn't have, and then I measured how long I actually wanted this tray to be. Based on, I looked at a standard lunch tray and I looked at the width of this walker, the height of it, where I wanted it, and that's how I decided. And then I cut all the wood up based on my measurements, and then I nailed and glued everything together, and we created these bumpers here, not because they necessarily needed to be there, but I didn't want a kid to put their lunch tray on it and they start walking and it slips off. So these bumpers are designed to hold anything from actually going over. And then once I nailed and glued everything, I painted it white, and then I attached the silver brackets to the bottom here, and then the black bracket to that, and that's what actually attaches to the walker. And it doesn't screw in anything, you just tighten this little screw, and it tightens up against this leg, this rubber piece tightens up against the leg, and then it stays in place. And the skills that I learned during this activity or during this project was flexibility, creativity, and resourcefulness. So the flexibility, I had to learn to understand that things are not going to go my way always, but I still have to figure out a way to accomplish the goal that I have in mind. And so, for instance, I imagined this walker much different than what it actually looked like. So in my head, I had all these ideas. Then I got the walker, and those all went out the door. So I, at that point, had to be flexible and be able to adjust my thinking to still create what I wanted so I could accomplish my goals. And the creativity part, I had to figure out the best way to make my project look presentable, but also be functional. So I wanted to actually be useful for someone that's going to be utilizing this Nimbo Walker. And then the resourcefulness came into, there's going to be many times in my career that I want to create something, but I mean, money doesn't grow on trees, so we have to be resourceful. And so for this project, it was a good example of found things around the house. We spent $10 or less and was able to make something that is very beneficial and can be very helpful. And so that's something I definitely will take into my future career to help me because I think it's really important. And the one thing that I would do much differently, this tray is not permanent, it's temporary. And it's temporary because you have to, every time you're done with it, you gotta unscrew these black brackets and take it off. If it was a permanent thing, because that's a hassle, if it's a permanent thing, I would have created to where you loosen it, or when you're done, you just swivel it to the side and you push it down and it now lays flat against your walker. Whereas you have to take it off every time you're done with this temporary use. So definitely would change that because it's gotta be a hassle for someone to take it off every single time. But because it wasn't my walker, I wasn't able to manipulate the walker in any way to make it a permanent thing. So did the best that I could to still create what I wanted to create, and I believe that it still is beneficial and actually is useful. And I also would, next time I would allow a kid to actually use it. Had some kids in mind, their families got COVID, so I couldn't utilize them, but I definitely will before I turn in this walker because I want to see how it works and is it really beneficial or not. So thank you guys for watching this, taking time out of your day and your busy schedules to be able to watch me. I really appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.